Welcome to the Great Girlfriends podcast, where we discuss life, love, laughter, and everything in between. We're your hosts. I'm Sybil Amusi.
And I'm Brandis Daniel.
And our third great girlfriend today is, drumroll,
Raval Davis.
Raval Davis. Welcome to the show, boo.
Hey, or V, as y'all call me.
Yes, we call her V, everyone. We call her V. So, we're happy to have you. Got a lot to dive into, but before we do, let's catch up over our weekend. How was your weekend, Brandis?
My weekend was fabulous. Saturday, I went to a Christmas party where there were so many children. It was like the old lady in the shoe. And there were kids running around everywhere. And the funny thing is, it was all my friends' kids.
Wow.
So we've all had babies in like the last 3 years. So there were babies everywhere. And then last night, Rich and I had a date night.
Hey.
So we went to go see Creed, which was, I mean, honestly, like the best movie of the year. Hands down. Ladies, we talked about motivation. If you want motivation, that movie is a must-see.
Oh, wow. That's good to know.
Loved it. How about you?
Well, this weekend I spent a lot of time on the sofa. I had like Power Saturday. I mean, I had a lot of stuff to conquer, but before I did any of that, I spent a lot of time on my new sofa. Got a new sofa for the family room. I got comfortable on that bad boy.
What color?
I did. It's like a deep charcoal.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. And we love it. The whole family loves it. Okay. So I got the sofa nice and comfortable. And then yesterday we did a birthday party with the kids. And Friday night, Kwaku and I were doing some work. So we had like a very nestled home weekend. We didn't do much out of the house. Raval, how was your weekend, love?
Oh, my weekend was good. Very, very busy.
Yeah.
So, which is good. A good thing. I was working this weekend, so.
Working on what, dear?
Oh, I was, going to auditions all over the city.
Okay.
Acting. I had a web series that we shot this weekend too. So it was a lot. Nice. A lot going on.
So let me just take a moment to introduce Raval, or V as we call her, to those of you who don't know her. She has been someone I've known kind of on the off side, because I've known you, but I haven't known you for about 5 or 6 years, I want to say. That I met through church that we were attending. And we didn't know each other very well, but we always admired each other from afar. And I always said, wow, she's cool. She's cool. That's what you said about me, and that's what I said about you. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. She's amazing.
Yeah, she's amazing. She's amazing. Oh, she's amazing. So we exchanged that from afar, and we always knew a lot of the same people. But this year in particular, we haven't had a chance to get to know each other a lot better. And I understood why I thought she was so amazing, and vice versa, right?
Yes, absolutely. You're like, I should go throw that in there.
I had to throw that in. But because V has a slow media feed, it's making it sound like she's scared to say yes to my response on that. So it sounds slow. It's got a delay to it.
It was a confident yes. Definitely yes.
No, so V has been a digital media expert, and she's spent a lot of her years in the music industry, and was very successful at what she was doing in music and in digital in terms of her marketing side, and took a huge, when I say huge, huge leap of faith this year into leaving her career in music and exploring her passion in the area of film and theater. And so it was something that I didn't even know was native to who she is, and that she has a theater degree. I had no idea about that, V. But it's something that she put on hold because of her own insecurities, I should say, around identity. And so slowly but surely this year, we saw V's story unfolding on social media. And I saw like even small things, like you started posting things about body confidence and owning your curves, and curvy girls rock. And I started seeing all these hashtags, and all these selfies start popping up of you just being curvilicious and owning it.
Yes.
And like, embracing it, and so and slowly but surely we began to understand what it was all about. It was just about you not just owning your curves, but owning you. And I think today, as we talk, and we want to dive really deep into the body confidence, because there's so much that women are struggling with around that issue.
Absolutely. And I remember V. I didn't know that you were an actress either. And we've
I
known each
know.
other for a few years as well.
Yeah.
So, no, I'm so excited. I can't wait for our audience, for our great girlfriends, to hear your story. Amazing. Love it.
I'm
Right.
excited
So,
to tell it.
V, we need you to really, for us, walk us through what this has been for you, for your passion for theater, moving into digital technology, moving out of that and back into your passion, and how it all came alive through this body confidence.
Okay.
Well, who were you
Excuse me.
working for? Who were you working for? Let them know kind of a little bit about your background.
Okay. So, yeah, this has been like the scariest thing I've ever done in my life, ever. Really crazy. I still think, like, am I nuts? But it's going really good. So, I started out as a journalist, and I wrote for a bunch of, publications, magazines. So, Honey, Essence, Ebony, Vibe, all of those, Condé Nast, those brands, and then went into digital marketing from there because kind of the journalism industry went that way, and started doing digital marketing for CeeLo Green and Melissa Etheridge and Eric Benet and JetBlue and all of that sort of thing. And then I went on to go to Sony and worked on Tamar Braxton and Michael Jackson and Prince and all of these amazing, awesome things, people, brands, things that I was really excited to be a part of at the time. It's interesting because I did all of those things, but none of those things were ever really my dream, right? Like, so I never, as a kid, dreamed of being in the music industry, and that's great. I mean, there are lots of people who would love to be in the music industry, but that just wasn't my dream. And as a child, I always wanted to be an actor. I was an acting major in high school. I went to Duke Ellington School of the Arts, and then I graduated from there. And went to Mason Gross at Rutgers, New Brunswick, and I was an acting major there. And and kind of what the Essence article is about is something that happened to me while it was a conversation that I had while I was at Mason Gross with the director of our department.
So before you go into that Essence article, girlfriends, you're going to learn a lot about that, what people call the aha moment. But back into that story, because that's a big piece of what kind of stunted you. You were saying when you were at Mason Groves and your director came to you.
Yeah. So this was, one of those moments where, I'm pursuing acting. I love it. And I'm in this program. I'm one of there were 3 Black girls in the program. I'm one of 3 Black girls in this program. It's a really well respected program and it's really intense, very like Juilliard style, conservatory. So, you know, the director has this conversation with me basically where she's like, we need to discuss your type and what your type is going to be when you graduate from here, when you go out into the world and become an actor. And so, she discusses with me, well, you're a Black woman, so there are limited roles, and and she, she's a white woman, and like, blonde, slim, so like total like Hollywood Barbie kind of woman. And so she's like, yeah, there's going to be limited roles. It's going to be really hard. It's going to be difficult. And this is something that wasn't like a new idea to me. So I'm like, okay, yeah, that's fine. Cool, whatever. And she's like, we're trying to figure out what my type is. So, I'm always like, I've always thought I'm the Angela Bassett type, like strong, that sort of thing. And she was just like, no, we don't look like her. And so that's not your type.
Wow.
Right.
And this is an acting school?
Yeah, it's a school for the arts. Mason Gross is a school for the arts, and then they have an acting program that's really well known where you study Meisner.
Okay. And where is it? It's New York?
In DC, right?
It's in New Brunswick, at Rutgers.
Right.
Yeah.
So what did you do with that? With what she said to you?
Well, that part I already knew. Like, I knew it. So I kind of I'm like, all right, girl. So what else is this conversation about, really? And that's when she got into the whole weight thing. And she was like, you need to lose 25 to 30 pounds, or it's going to be very difficult for you to work in this industry. And at the time, I mean, like, I look at myself now and I'm like, okay, maybe I could lose a pound, or two here or there. But at the time, I was like 145 pounds. Like, it wasn't, I was kind of snatched and slim at the time. I thought I looked good. But she's just like, I'm like, if I lose that much weight, I'm gonna look like a whole nother person, kind of thing. But I actually tried. I tried to lose the weight. I did Weight Watchers. I was in the gym every day, and I lost a lot of weight. But I never kind of really lived up to what her standards were, and I never looked like the other girls in my class. And I just didn't look like what was currently on TV and what was in film at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of like subconsciously, and I didn't realize this at the time, made this decision of like, oh, there's no point in me pursuing acting. I'll never work. I'm a Black girl and I'm thick. What are they gonna do with me? Like, there's nobody on TV that looks like me. At best, maybe like it was Queen Latifah, and at that time, Queen Latifah was kind of just coming out. She hadn't had all of the success that she's had now.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, that was one out of a million girls.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so from there, you dove into journalism?
Yeah. So then I started running the school newspaper, and that became my new passion. Like, oh, I'm a journalist, and I always was a writer, so it was cool. And I just went into that head first. I got a job, coming out after I graduated. First working at Vibe, and then working at Hype Hair, and shout out to Hype Hair from it's so back in the day, but Hype Hair and Today's Black Woman, those magazines, and then went to a bunch of other publications, but that became my thing, and I had great success doing that. I met so many great, amazing people. I interviewed these awesome folks. I interviewed Quincy Jones, like so many like amazing moments in my life was from journalism, but it was always something like in the back of my head kind of nagging me like, this is not my dream. Like, this is not what I want. But I was afraid to pursue what I really wanted. It's crazy what I was afraid of. I was afraid of two things. I was afraid of both succeeding and failing at the same time.
Girl, that's not crazy. That's everybody's life and everybody's story.
Tell us how you were afraid of failing first, and then tell us how you were afraid of succeeding.
Well, so I was afraid of failing because I created this whole story in my brain that I'm a Black girl, I'm thick, I won't work. Like, this was the truth, the gospel in my head. Like, this was a fact. It wasn't an opinion, it was factual.
Wow.
Yeah. So, like, it would be to the point where, like, one of my friends actually called me out on it because we had a conversation, and she was just like, you have some real stuff around acting, like. And I was like, well, you don't understand. You're not a Black woman. You're not in this body. You don't get it. You don't understand. She's like, well, no, you have a block. Like, I don't know what it is, but you have a block in this area. Like, you feel like you could build a spaceship and go to the moon, but you don't feel like you could be on TV. Like, I don't get it, kind of thing. So that was the failure part. And then the success part, I think, it's still kind of, I don't even know how to explain it, but it just feels like you're afraid of success. I even feel it still sometimes, kind of thing. Like, as you move forward and things start to move forward in your favor and happen for you, it just feels like, oh my God, what's gonna be like? I don't know. Like, what's next? Like, am I gonna be able to handle this? Like, that sort of thing.
It's a total fear of the unknown.
Yeah.
And that's where that fear of success comes from. It's like
all the
failure
parts
I can handle. I've dealt with that before. Maybe a different kind of failure, but we're kind of familiar with that piece. But when it comes to really being successful and thinking about what that means for our lives, it gets really it makes you it's like nerve-wracking because you just don't know what that picture looks like.
And it's something you've never seen. If you haven't seen it, can you hold on to it?
Right.
Like, or will it become another failure?
Right.
So,
yes.
So I'm afraid of the idea the success thing might not sustain.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Or it'll sustain and I'll be in a world I've never known. That uncertainty that you said.
Absolutely.
That's so true.
Wow.
Which ties back to, girlfriends, if you haven't listened to our episode on Fear of Success.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely go back and revisit that, because V, you tapped into one of the very things that Brandis and I have addressed and continue to address personally when we, as we start seeing more and more reward from hard work, that it comes with a lot of not anxiety, but just some kind of anticipation that sits in the wrong place sometimes. It's just misplaced anxiety. It's misplaced excitement.
That's called anxiety.
It's misplaced excitement.
If you want to slap another name on it, go right ahead.
I mean, there's this misplaced excitement. That's what I like to call it.
Misplaced excitement. That's perfect.
So tell us from there. You got into journalism and you spent a large percent of your time there, and then the industry shifted and you shifted with the industry.
Yes.
And you found yourself there, but you knew that this dream was still being blocked, as your friend explained to you so eloquently, by your mindset and that story you created. And then what do you do next?
It was just like I always had this nagging kind of feeling in the back of my head, and so I would go and like I would go take an acting class here and there, or I would get headshots done. I would like do one small thing and then not do anything else, like that's kind of what it was. But this like aha moment happened, and can I talk about Tony Robbins? And
sure.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Sybil invited me to go see Tony Robbins, and
volunteer at Covenant House.
Yes, I was volunteer of Covenant House, and I went to go see Tony Robbins, and I went to Unleash the Power Within, and he has, I mean, all of it's just like really amazing. But there's this one particular part where he takes you on this meditation. It's like a negative meditation. Do you remember this? I'm sure you do, Sybil. Yeah, where of course you do. Negative meditation of kind of like what your life will look like, what it will be like 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years down the road, if you never pursue your dreams, if you never go after the things that you really want. And you sit there and meditate and think and visualize what that will look like and feel like.
Wow.
And when I had that, and I mean, like literally, it was so sad. I was in my same apartment. My dog had died. Like I had got fired from the company. Like I didn't have no man. Like my whole life just, just from not, because when you just don't pursue one thing that is important to you, I feel like your whole life is that way, right? Mm-hmm. So, and that's what it was so at that point, I realized like, okay, I got to do something different. Like I can't live my whole life and regret this and be 80 years old and like, looking back, like, why didn't I? What if? What could have happened? So
tell us really quickly how your story around your body and the limits around your body changed and kind of moved you into this new direction.
Yeah. So I realized that those two things were really tied together for me. So the career stuff, as well as me just not being really comfortable with my body and what I look like, like those things, I wasn't comfortable with either thing, and so in pursuing and moving forward with what I really wanted in my life, I had to like really look in the mirror and realize like, I think it happened a lot too because of like going on dates and stuff. Like going on dates, I would be the one who had an issue with my body, right? Like it's not the guys or the other people looking at you like you think it is, right? It's me. It's all in my head. It's all the story that I've made up of like, oh, I look a certain sort of way, or that,
what are the sort of ways that you felt like you looked? Like what were some of the body insecurities that you were feeling? Give us like 5 of them. I mean, it may not be 5.
Exactly.
What'd you say?
It could have been 2, but give us as many that other great girlfriends can identify with.
I know.
Because we get in the mirror and we start picking everything apart. Everything.
Absolutely.
But give us some that some of our other great girlfriends may be dealing with it when they look in the mirror or they go on their dates.
Absolutely. So I'm still dealing with them. So it's because it's all a work in progress. But my arms, I have, chubby arms. And I mean, like, to the point where I had this thing where everything had to be long sleeve. Like, I'm like, oh, I can't be wearing no sleeves out here in these streets. I will, I'm waving and stuff, there's something under my arm waving back, like,
and nobody notices, V.
Listen, in my brain, the whole world was like, no, this girl did not wear no sleeves. Somebody put some sleeves on her.
You said, okay, so I'm waving twice.
I'm waving twice.
Arms are both waving. Okay.
My hand and my arm.
Another one.
Definitely like just the midsection, I definitely had the waist shaper moment where I was like, well, let me put on this good waist shaper and be 100% uncomfortable, but look snatched, There was that. I mean, and then just, I think specifically when it comes to acting and just having like a curvaceous body and looking at TV and not seeing that for so long. So for so long, on TV and magazines, you just didn't see curvy girls like be embraced the way that we are being embraced now. And so it just kind of was sending you this message that like, this is wrong, like this is not okay. Nobody loves this look, like nobody loves the way you look. This is the way you should look.
Let me dig just a second. Did any of this stem from childhood, or did it start when that woman defined that moment and said, you don't fit, like your profile is not, was this something that she layered on top of something you were already feeling, or was it something new that you took on as a result of her comment?
I don't think it was something brand new. But I'm from DC, so the strange thing is like, I'm from DC, grew up in Black culture, so like curvaceous bodies are very much celebrated in where I come from. Like even my dad loves like the curves that my mom has and all of that. So that was my background. But then, just on a daily basis, when you open certain magazines and when you watch television, not seeing that. And then having this woman confirm that, and wanting to be in an industry where literally it's all about the way you look. Like people are looking at you all the time. It's all about image. So it just puts so much, on image.
Yeah.
Wow. Awesome.
Yeah.
What about what gave you the assurance that it was the right thing to do to just leave your job and pursue this full time?
It really, I think it was just faith. A faith I didn't have before. Maybe it was just a small little faith before, and it just started to grow. And I mean, it was really just God. Like when it's like you're with GPS, for instance. Let me use an example with GPS. It's like with GPS, if you're supposed to be going over here to one destination, but you keep turning the wrong way, GPS is still trying to get you to go back on the rest, like rerouting.
Preach.
I love that.
And that's what I was doing with my life. He was like rerouting. Like you are not supposed to be. You're not supposed to be working at a music in the music industry, building marketing campaigns for these artists. You are the talent. Like you're supposed to be talent. Like, and it was just one of those things. How you walk into a room, people are always like, "Oh, you should be on TV," or whatever. And people say those little things all the time, but I feel like you can't. I got to a point where you can't dismiss those things anymore. Like, like those things.
I'll tell you, people don't hear that all the time. I don't feel I don't feel like the world is. It doesn't happen to everyone.
See, in my brain, it's like everybody they say that to everybody.
No, everyone's not hearing that, V. That's something specific to the person who's called, right?
Totally.
That's hilarious. But I think that's people do that, right? Or am I just the only person?
They don't.
Well, I think you're saying people minimize. Oh no, people don't hear it all the time, but people do minimize those signs, like those confirming moments, and try to. Oh, everyone's hearing that.
Everyone's not hearing that, V. They're definitely not.
And that's what I was doing. I was totally minimizing those moments of like, why aren't you on TV? I'm like, oh, you're crazy. Knowing like secretly in my soul, like I want to be on TV. I want to be in films. Like that's what I really want. If I could, And there's this quote that's always on Instagram, always on Facebook, everywhere. It's like, what would you do? What would you dare to do if you knew you couldn't fail?
Yeah.
And that was always my answer.
Yeah.
Like, if I knew I couldn't fail, I would be an actor. Like,
Wow.
and so that's what I should be doing.
Absolutely. Was some of your insecurity around stepping into this, did some of it have to do with what people would say? Because they knew your identity was one thing in terms of music and that industry, and then to tell everyone that you want to now be an actress, that's a difficult thing to do. So did that have anything to do with the fear?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
I can relate.
I was like, people are going to think I am nuts. They're going to think I am totally crazy. And that was really the reason why I had to write the story in essence. Because I was like,
press pause right there. Great Girlfriends, what you don't know is, was that in July?
When I wrote the story?
Yes. When was that?
I don't even remember. I think it was, or August.
August. Okay. Yes. So August, V had this breakout media moment. And I'm going to say you broke the internet. At least you broke my internet that day, because there was this article that that was written by V in Essence on essence.com. It was sort of her breakout article. So V, just dive right into that particular moment. And what led you to do that? Girl, that was so awesome.
Yeah. Yes. Crazy.
There's no turning back after that.
No.
What'd you say?
I said there's no turning back after that. Like, that was jumping into the deep end of the pool.
That's what Brandice calls a cliff jump.
That was definitely a cliff jump.
And that was the point. That was the point, is because I had been talking about for months at that point, like, oh, I'm going to get back into acting. This is what I need to do. And I just wasn't doing it. I talked to one of my friends, and she was like, oh, you need to send out an email to everyone you know and tell them, you know. And I kept putting it off. She would follow up with me every day and say, did you send the email today? Can you draft the email and send me what you're gonna send to everybody? And every day I would put it off. I'd be like, oh, I'm gonna get to it next week. You know, I'm just busy doing this and busy doing that. And I would just keep putting it off until I was like, you know what? I gotta, as you say, jump off the cliff here. And that's what I did. That's what the Essence article was. It was, you know, let me just put this story out here and tell everybody so they can know for sure that I have lost my mind and I'm crazy.
And it's a good thing.
We just get it all out in the open, you know?
Sometimes we need to lose our mind.
Yes.
Sometimes we need to go crazy. That. And I love what you did, because, listen, if I didn't forward it to you, and if Brandice didn't forward, we're gonna forward that article back out to our mailing list and our group, and we're gonna put it back out, because I felt so compelled to do something extraordinary after that.
It was incredible.
I felt like she was walking through Times Square topless, and I needed to join her. I was like, yes, let's just get naked out here and let's just be who we are. Let's stop clothing ourselves with clothes we don't even like. You know, I just felt like it was such a liberating moment, V, not just for you, but I shared it with my husband. I shared it with so many people, and so many people agree that the amount of vulnerability that you shared in that article was beyond expectation, and it was just freeing.
Yeah, and I'd never done that before.
Wow.
So,
what was the response you got from the article?
So, okay, let's talk about what I thought the response was going to be. I thought the response, it may have been, you know, in some secret way, people were like, maybe they are talking about me behind my back, and I don't know. I thought in my brain, people are going to be like, oh, this girl really is crazy. She's going to be an actor. Okay, well, I hope, you know, she knows somebody's going to pay that rent for her or something. You know, that's what the conversation that was happening in my head. But what really happened was so many people, you know, for one, sharing the article on Facebook with other people, just saying how inspired they were. And then my actor friends, one of my actor friends who's on a show, you know, Lawrence.
Yes,
St. Victor.
Bold and the Beautiful, right? Is his show?
Yeah.
I think yes.
I mean, he's has a huge following or whatever, and he was just like, I am so inspired by this. Everyone needs to read. You know, I was like, why are you inspired by this? You are working, you are doing the thing, you know. And so that was the feedback, is people were inspired by it, and people shared it with other people. People really encouraged me. I mean, I sent it to some of my old bosses, and they responded back and were like, this is great. I'm so excited for you. Let me know what I can do to help. And then there were lots of emails of like, oh, well, there's this casting. Let me introduce you to this person. And that was really great too, because it was like immediately people read that email and they were like, I had no idea you were acting. Let me introduce you to my friend who's a director, or so-and-so is working on this film now. And yeah, it was overwhelming and amazing.
Every single time we take a huge step of faith in that way, God always sends people, and people are actually excited to be a part of our vision. Every single time you just step out, like when you just go all the way crazy with it, people are like, let me go. Like you said, let me take off my top too. It's like when you are tiptoeing and you're saying, I want to be an actress, and you're doing it kind of, nobody really knows about it, or you're kind of doing it, you're kind of not doing it.
It's but like when you almost,
when you almost
do it,
nobody really is like, nobody wants to join.
No.
But when you go full on out there, like crazy out there, everybody wants to join.
When you put your vision out there, people want to participate, right?
Yeah. Well, when you fully commit to it.
Yeah.
Like once you fully decide and you jump in there, people want to jump in with you.
And that's the place that can be sometimes scary, but if you keep on like really riding on that momentum long enough, it'll take you where you need to go.
Absolutely.
But if you pull back because you feel like you're naked and you're saying, oh my gosh, it's happening, you start shrinking.
Yes.
And you'll start pulling away from that vision.
And people just aren't attracted to that. No. Like, I mean, I might want to support you if you say, hey, Brandis, I'm really thinking about acting, or I want to be an actress. And I might say, oh, that's really nice. I think you should go for that. But when you go all in the way that you did, if I had a resource, I'm like, I want to support this. Like,
absolutely.
It's a big difference. It's a difference between being in 3 feet of water and 50 feet of water.
Right. That's so true.
Yeah. So how has it been now that you've been going to auditions? Like, tell us about this new journey.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing how many lies I told myself that are so not true. And I mean, before I started talking to you guys, I was just looking at a casting, and they're looking for a 5'5" girl, curvy girl with big boobs and a big booty. I'm like, okay, well, y'all are looking for me, but right. In my brain, that did not exist, and it's like these stories, these things we tell ourselves are just not true. And I have really, like, within the last 2-3 weeks, totally changed my life. Like, I go on auditions every day. That's my life. That's what I do. Yes. It's crazy to me. I'm like a working actor. And you know what? That's been a really big part of my transformation too, I would say, is just confessions. Like every day I confess, to God, to myself, I confess that I am a paid working actor. And I also like set a goal for myself. It might be a crazy goal, but my goal is that I will book my first acting TV credit in the next 42 days.
Amen.
So that's my goal. Yeah, and I try to share that with everybody.
Able to hire you, will be able to hear that, and we'll be able to reach you because we'll put your information in our contact as well.
Absolutely.
Listen, thank you.
Tell me really quickly, V, what do you, how have you taken your body confidence expertise, because now you are considered body confidence experts, but how have you taken that and used that to fuel even more? Like, what are you saying about your body now that's different?
The great thing about body confidence is that I'm able to, for one, go into auditions and feel great and be on camera and be able to act out, do whatever it is I need to do and not be feeling all self-conscious. But it feels good too, just to go out on a date. Like I do certain things where, like, before I go out on a date, I'm going to go look in the mirror. I'm going to put on my freakum dress, go look in the mirror, dance, celebrate my body, look at myself and say, you're beautiful. I write myself little Post-it notes like, you are beautiful. Your booty is the bomb, girl. Like, look at those hips. I write myself all these little notes on my mirror and stuff. And it just makes me feel it just makes me feel good about myself. And I dance to my favorite songs and look at myself in the mirror before I go out on the date. And then when I go out on the date, I'm like, honey, you don't even know what you are witnessing right now. You know, I have so much confidence in
Yes, I love
like,
it.
and I think guys feel that too. They're just
Absolutely.
Of course. Yeah. And plus you're not so focused on it. So you're not sitting on a date with your arms all tight because you don't want anything to like fly in the wind. Right. And you know, like you're not conscious of that. Your mind is free from that. So you're able to actually be present.
Yes, absolutely.
I love it. What advice would you give our great girlfriends, some of them that are struggling kind of with body image right now?
I wrote a story about this on the Huffington Post recently. I wrote, I think it was like 7 things that you can do, and one of those things, that one of my favorite things to do, is to write yourself little gratitude, write your body gratitude notes, and that's one of the things that I do. Is like, I thank my body every day for getting me through. Like, I have auditions all over the city. You know, I'm like, you done got me up all types of flights of stairs today. Yes. You done just really worked it out. We went to the gym and you still pushing. Like,
what's your body gratitude? I've never
written my body gratitude note.
I've never written my body
so
gratitude
good
note.
though, right?
Wow.
Just to say thank you to your body, and then, you know, just write little notes too, just to celebrate your body and say like, oh, you know, like, you're the bomb. You really are. And then too, it goes back to, I think, how we minimize those things that people say about us. Mm-hmm. And so, like, we maybe, like, so my thing is my arms, right? Like, I think that my arms are just, you know, the worst, right? Mm-hmm. But people always say, you know, or guys always say the other parts of me, that I have a beautiful smile, that I have a great shape, and it's like, you have to really take those things in. I feel like when people say, girl, you look good in that dress, thank you. Mm-hmm. You know, take that in, you know.
You have to get great at receiving, right?
You have to get great at receiving.
Which is, ties directly into the episode that we released on getting great at receiving.
Absolutely.
Yep.
You gotta receive it.
Gotta receive it.
I love this.
It is very good. V, girl,
yes.
You are such an evangelist, child. Let me tell you something.
Listen, I'm a great girlfriend. I listen to the podcast. Y'all just help me get my life. So.
Oh, thank you so much.
You,
and obviously for the women who are listening right now, like, this is a big part. Listening to positive women who are honest and real about what you're going through. Like, I mean, you guys are real, and you're still positive, and you share a way to kind of get out of being negative. I mean, it's just, yeah, it's awesome. I'm a fan. I'm a great girlfriend.
Yeah, I don't know what we think half the time. I think we think nobody's listening.
We don't.
So we get in here and we talk about everything.
And then we're like, did we say that?
And then we're like, I think I said that out loud.
Oh, no, boy. Can I tell you my favorite thing?
Uh-oh.
Oh, 2 things. You know, I love pivot, Sybil. I'm all about the pivot now.
Talk about making pivots.
Oh,
that pivot, I'm like, listen, if something's not going right in my life, it doesn't matter. If my heel could break off my shoe, how am I going to pivot out of this situation? I have to put on a new pair, whatever it is, you know? And then the other thing, Brandis, when you talked about, you told people that you worked at McDonald's, I was just like, yes. Yes. I'm working at Popeyes then. Like, absolutely.
I work on the register with Brandis at McDonald's.
Exactly.
We all work at McDonald's.
What's it to you?
I love it.
So don't worry about it. You know, I'm getting my life. So, yes.
Yay. Thank you so much, B. This has been incredible. I think our great girlfriends, I mean, because all of us have something. All of us have something about our bodies that we would change if we could. Yeah. And so you being so honest and vulnerable is going to inspire so many women. We're going to make sure that we put a link to the article in our show notes.
Yes, absolutely.
And then we'll also put a link to your Huffington Post article in our show notes as well.
Yep.
So ladies, you'll be able to access both of those articles on our website at thegreatgirlfriends.com.
I'm going to say really quickly, V, what I appreciate about you so much is like knowing you very much more intimately this year, and even working with you. We both are working on a project together for My Brother's Keeper, which has been quite exciting. But you do the work. Like, you literally do the work. You take the time to assess yourself. You take the time to examine the good things, examine the things that are challenging you, and you manage it accordingly. Like, if there's something that could set you back, you work to get past it. And I think it's been very rewarding to watch you over this year because you mentioned very early in like March, you mentioned so many things to me, so many revelations that you took from that event. And now here we are in December and seeing how so many things have unfolded from you with you as a result of you actually going and doing the work. It's one thing, like you said, for people to listen to positive messages and like, be around it, but to take what you need from it, learn the lesson, and then do the work, that's the part. I just want to applaud you for that.
Absolutely.
Yes, claps for you. Seriously, and great girlfriends, I really want to say the same to you. Let that be an example because V is on her way somewhere great. Like, I just know it. I know it. And what you did, even being in the middle of your journey towards your Academy Awards and towards your Golden Globes and your Emmys and whatever these awards, you're on your way there, but you are doing this, lifting somebody else along the way and helping us all to make our own assessments and make our gratitude notes.
Absolutely.
So we can journey together. That's what it's all about. So I just want to salute you for that.
Even her saying that every day she's going on auditions. Every single day.
Every day.
Because some people would have put that article out there and been like, I'm gonna go on auditions for a week, and then nothing's happened. So now I'm sitting on my couch.
Oh no, I'm in it. In it to win it.
She's in it to win it.
I love it.
In it to win it. Well, thank you so much, V. Thank you.
Yes.
We want to thank our boos. Thank you, Rich Daniel, who has Sky, because she decided to turn up on this podcast today.
Turn up, Sky.
A little cameo.
And my little pumpkin Sky Grace.
Yes, I want to thank my amazing love of my life, Kwaku and Moody, and my little bunnies, Sam and Dilly. And V, you want to do your thank yous as well?
Oh, I mean, thank God. Like, I just thank God. I thank y'all for having me. I'm so honored and happy that y'all, had me on here. I'm just thankful. Thank you.
So happy to have you, V. So thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for being a great girlfriend.
Yes, indeed. You are really doing it, girl.
So you'll get a treat at the end because you'll get a chance to say our last tagline with us.
I know. Yeah, you'll get to do that with us. Hope you know it. But thank you to all of our great girlfriends around the world who've been listening so faithfully and consistently and sharing with all your friends.
Absolutely.
Yep. Please visit us on Instagram
at The Great Girlfriends,
on Twitter,
_Great GFS,
and our Facebook page,
The Great Girlfriend,
our Facebook group,
The Great Girlfriend.
You can download us on iTunes,
Podcast Republic,
Blueberry.
What else is there
Stitcher.
out there? All of it.
And anywhere that we're not, that we need to be, you could tell us and we'll get on there.
Absolutely. So please post your questions, share with your friends.
Keep listening and keep being
a great girlfriend.
I'm Sybil.
And I'm Brandis.
And I'm Raval.
And we're signing off.
Thank you guys.
Bye.